Well, for more on this story, we cross to Khaya Khumalo, who's standing by for us. Khaya, very good afternoon. This is clearly a really big deal for the families, and it must be quite emotional where you are.
Well, without a shadow of a doubt, Nombi, it's a very heart-wrenching moment for the families. As you know, that closure has always been what they wanted. Some of the people died in the 80s and the 70s and also in the 60s. As you know, the history of South Africa, it's a very, very turbulent history. But just to get a context about what to expect during the course of the afternoon, we're joined by Onicca Kwakwa from the Ministry of Defence and Military Veterans. So once again, Onicca, welcome to SABC News. Let's talk about the importance of today. Obviously, we're all waiting with bated breath for the arrival now, we believe, of the aircraft at 3 p.m.
Yes, thank you for having us. Yes, indeed, this is a historic moment, an historic day for South Africa, because we're enjoined by the Constitution really to heal the divisions of the past and to make sure that we honor those who died to liberate us. So today we are receiving the remains of 49 heroes and heroines who died liberating our country, and you know that this project is long coming, but now we are here, the families are here, the leaders are going to be here, and we are going to be receiving the remains in the next hour or so, and the craft is going to land around 3 o'clock.
Onicca, let's look at the process. Obviously, you had to work with your counterparts from Zimbabwe, from Zambia. These are countries really who were willing to open the doors for the liberation fighters when it was not popular to do so, when we knew how apartheid regime, for example, terrorized the frontline states. But take us through to the process.
Yes, it has been a long process. As you know, that the repatriation is not only starting now. We have seen the repatriation of Sarah Bartman, Nat Nakase, JB Max, and Moses Kotani. But it has been on an ad hoc basis, and it has just been based on the request of families and of provinces and the localities where they come from. But since we have seen that this is process is very slow, government needed now to come with a policy. But this policy was also talking to countries. The model was a country-to-country model to say we are going to go to Zimbabwe, and because they've been housed there and they've been buried there, some of the countries did not understand, because in terms of the international laws, people are supposed to be buried where they died. So we needed to make the countries understand the context why we needed to bring them back, not only for us to honor them, but also for their own families to find closure, and of course in terms of African cultures and other beliefs, for them to be able to show their generations and to do their rituals where they can see them. So it has been a very complicated, very complex project, and it involved a number of departments. As you know, that the Department of Justice through NPA has a missing persons task team, and this is also a department that has been playing a very important role. DSEC through SARA, that is supposed to preserve the heritage, promote, and because there is no we cannot talk about heritage if we're not going to address redress and justice. And then we've got, of course, the Department of Military Veterans, that is a custodian of military veterans who are still alive and who died, and of course DIRCO and so forth. So it is a very a multidisciplinary a project which is led, of course, by Deputy President Paul Mashatile, and I think this is what has given this project the impetus, because it has been very slow. But since Deputy President is convening all these ministries, and then there was a bit of a speed in terms of what needed to be done by each department.
Okay. Before we let you go, Onicca, what can you expect during the course of the afternoon?
Yes, from this morning, the two countries, Zimbabwe and Zambia, they were hosting ceremonies to officially hand over the remains, and we have our minister of land development, and the deputy ministers of both defense, military veterans, and of DSEC in those countries. So immediately after the release, they started in Zambia, and the aircraft started there, and then it went to Zimbabwe. And then once they finish in Zimbabwe, then the craft will be released to come and land here at Waterkloof and Hagar 10. The preparations are already underway. We're ready to receive them, and the families have arrived as well. So once we receive them, there's going to be 2 hours where there's going to be preparation delegation. As you know, there is a process of having to move them properly so that when we then finally have the ceremony that is going to be conducted by the South African National Defence Force, all the 4 arms of the Defence Force, they are here. Then we will have the Minister of Defence and Military Veterans is going to be the one who's going to be leading the delegation for the ceremony today.
All right. Onicca Kwakwa, thank you so much indeed. Of course, Nompu from the Ministry of Defence and Military Veterans, really just giving us a snapshot in terms of what is likely to transpire during the course of the afternoon. So it's quite a very somber atmosphere here, but also there's a sense of relief as the families, they can feel that they are edging close to that particular closure. So we'll certainly keep you posted during the course of the afternoon, even all the way to the evening. So with that, back to you in studio.
Thank you so much, my colleague there, Khaya Khumalo.